If the Fed does more than, 2 or 3 hikes, could that derail things? Some interest rates where I am here in Hong Kong have actually tripled in about 6 months, and that's unnerving some people in the property market, for instance.
You're right, Bernie. I think when we look at the issues on the horizon, I can name a few. There's the debt ceiling, the debate, there's the Italian election, there's North Korea, but none of those really are enough, in my opinion, to upset the apple cart. The thing that would is if we do get more inflation than anticipated, and therefore the Fed has to raise rates more than 3 times this year. And I'm sure Jerome Powell's very worried, because the last time a Fed chairperson took office when you had such a big roaring bull market was Alan Greenspan in August of 1987. And of course, in October of 87, you had that 20% fall in the market, October 19. So inflation's the thing, and we had probably about 3.6% global GDP growth last year, and we're probably going to get even more than that this year. And we've got these record low interest rates, and you put all those things together, it would be reasonable to expect an acceleration in inflation. And if we get that, and the central banks have to tighten more than we think, yes, that is the risk. And you're absolutely right, Bernie, to say the coupling relationship exists between Asia and America. It very much does. If the S&P goes down anything much more than 2%, you start to get a drag on Asian markets.
What do you think is going to be the most exciting place? I mean, it could be anything, and I know this is guesswork, Mark, but I know you're particularly fond of Japan. The data points, the data stream has been very strong. Sri was just talking there at the SGX about policy tightening and maybe, battening down the hatches a little bit. Could this all work in the Nikkei's favor?
Bernie, yes, it hardly is exciting, and I would not get married to Japanese banks. But as a kind of flirtation, I think they're very interesting, because they've done nothing over the last year, whereas the topics did do very well. They're trading on very, very low valuations with good dividend yields, and they should be a natural corollary of the Bank of Japan beginning to normalize monetary policy. And what I'm hearing from my sources in Japan, Bernie, is that at some point toward the middle of this year, Prime Minister Abe will declare victory over deflation so that he can shift his focus from the economy to politics and reforming the Constitution and creating a more offensive type of armed forces. And there's no way the Bank of Japan could just stand idly by and say, oh, well, we'll keep our policies as loose as they are now, even though the Prime Minister said that he's declared victory over deflation. So not the sexiest story in the world, but I think Japanese banks have value, and there is a catalyst coming.